Hello again. It's not only speak like an Egyptian, today it's heal like an ancient Egyptian. And today I'm hosting Dr. Katia Roberts. She's going to talk to us about healing as an Egyptian. Hello, Dr. Katia. It's nice to have you over here today.
Masa al khair, Ahmed. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
So tell me more about you, like to introduce yourself to us, please.
Sure, thank you. Well, my name's Dr. Katia Roberts. I'm a holistic doctor, and I'm also a spiritual mentor and a sound healer, and I lead spiritual and healing tours to Egypt. And I'm going to share with you all the healing capacities that Egypt entails, as well as ancient ways of healing that you can experience in Egypt and apply to your life now.
Okay, so we're having the best one who can talk about this.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. So, Dr. Katia, can you tell me more about the techniques and methodologies you use for the healing and how it's connected to ancient Egyptians?
Sure, yes. So I do a lot of sound healing. So there's actually sound healing temples in Egypt where the pharaohs and the initiates used to go to get aligned and be initiated and healed. So we have this at Saqqara, which is the step pyramid. There's yes, there's sound niches and where you would go and you would receive frequency and a reverberation if you echoed or say a prayer or a chant into these sound niches. So when I do tours to Egypt, we go to Saqqara and we go and experience this. We echo sounds into this. We also go to where you would be aligned with a positive and negative energy and ions. Many of these temples have this. They have healing chambers and sound chambers, and even each temple has its own frequency and energy aligned to it if you practice or come from an energetic lens.
So you mean up to nowadays we still can be part of this experience?
You still can be part of this experience, and that's what I do. I do private visits where we actually go into the pyramids. So the pyramids is another example of this. So the pyramids used to be, besides its connotation of in Egyptology, it was also to charge you up. It was seen as a massive charger, to charge your energy up. And you can experience this today. So my tours, I do a private visit to the pyramids, to the king's and the queen's chamber for 2 hours after visit hours. We are alone there. We're doing meditation. We're going in. And so I have these tuning forks, and they are the frequency of the pyramids, of the kings and the queens. Yes, of the inside the pyramid. So they've measured this. It's 1.5 hertz. And they've measured this frequency, and it's a healing frequency. And so many of my pilgrims, when they come back, they're like, I still feel the buzz. It feels like you transported to another world. It's really an outer body. Yes, there's a lot of physics there, and you actually physically experiencing it. And it's hard to describe, but you know something's happening, and science can explain it, but just you actually feeling it. You have a full body feeling of it. And it's the same at other temples too.
Okay, do you have any examples of this you can share with us?
Yes, I'm going to share that now. And I also want to just mention something else, what you asked me earlier about the different methodologies. So the other things that I will segue into later is just the oils. So they're still using oils. And there's some perfumery still in Egypt. We go to the sheikh that does healing with oils, and it aligns the chakra, and each of these perfume oils come from ancient times. And there's all these recipes and formulas of these oils and herbal formulas for healing. There's a chapel in Dendara, which is Hathor's temple in Quena, where you can visit this, and they're still deciphering this. There's so much still knowledge that's still not even deciphered and explained from the hieroglyphs there that they're still uncovering. So it's a project that they're still working on that's not even been fully explained and showcased. And so there's so much healing and mystery available there. And this is what you feel when you go there. And I can definitely share another temple like that is Komombo, which is known as the Healing Temple and the Temple of Neutrality. So this is along the Nile. This is between Aswan and Luxor. So it's just before Esna and Esna locks, you get Komombo. Komombo Temple is the temple that was dedicated to Horus, the elder, and to Sobek. So Sobek is the crocodile god. So that's when, before the Aswan Dam, we still had, in ancient times, there were still crocodiles down the Nile. And the crocodiles was used to help initiate initiates. And crocodiles were revered. Yes, power, but also wisdom. Because the way they would test the initiate for priesthood or kingship was they will throw them in with the pit of the crocodiles.
Okay.
And you had to lay still, right? You had to find the right time to immerse, otherwise the crocodile will snap you in half. So it's kind of like you're either going to die or you're going to surface and you're going to be a new initiate. So it's all about the right timing. So it's using wisdom to discern when's the right timing. And this is the healing on a psycho-spiritual, psychosomatic level of anything, because everything is energy and emotion. So any physical symptom you're experiencing, every organ is related to a frequency. And a way of addressing that without medicine is by using frequency. There's all these theories that the pyramids were built by, elevating the stones with sound. There's like a lot of esoteric theories out there. Yes, there's theories out there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, science, regular Western science is not going to substantiate that, but there's a lot of new findings in psychospirituality, metaphysics that can explain a lot of these theories. So it's coming. But when you go there and you experience this yourself, it changes your perception. You're like, wow, you make up your own mind. We should never take anything just as face value. So I have an Egyptologist present that would state all the historical facts. It's there. It's interesting. We can explore that. But then there's a felt sense. There's what are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What's your perspective? What's your takeaway? Because how I'm experiencing one temple is not how you're going to experience it. I may have a very inspiring and awakening and experience, where other people it might be a very healing experience for them that will bring them, open their hearts up, and a lot of grief may come up. It's a very emotional journey. Something can come up of a remembrance that they're having to move through. And we do this by holding sacred space. And I'm the facilitator, so I help my pilgrims move through that.
Okay, I have a question before you show us an example, as we agreed.
Yes.
Does this happens only in the temples in Egypt, or any temple this can be happening?
Yeah. It doesn't even need to happen in a temple, any sacred space. So any sacred space or any energetic portal. So if you look at any kind of ancient civilizations or ancient practices, that earth-based practices that had a connection with earth energy, with planetary alignments, which ancient Egyptian had a huge connection with planetary alignments and constellation, the Orion's belt over the pyramids. So that's in alignment with that. So if you go to it doesn't have to be just in a temple. A temple was created by man as a sacred space, but energetic ley lines is all over the earth. And usually ancient civilizations used to choose those ley lines, those energetic lines, to put their temples on. So I'm from South Africa, Cape Town. Table Mountain is on a ley line. It's a very healing place. There's so many examples of that right over the world. So what traditional tribes and spiritual seekers and pilgrims would do is they would travel to those places, and that will be a place of refuge, place of divination, a place of visualization to receive from God, or however you see God, whether it is a universal energy. You'll be receiving prayer, you'll sing your prayers there, your chants, and receive messages from God in those places. It's a place where it's easier to receive messages. It's easier to meditate. It's easier to go deeper within. It's easier to receive healing in these places than just anywhere. I mean, sure, these experiences can happen anywhere, and that's what we call activations. So if you've been to a place like this, so with all my pilgrims, I do this work away from Egypt as well. So if pilgrims have gone with me to Egypt, they already had the activation of that energy, of that place. Then when they go in meditation or in a meditative journey, they're able to go there again in their mind's eye, in their energetic body. They're able to feel that again because they already had the initial initiation of that and activation of that.
So you do something as a preparation before moving on with the whole thing. Right?
Yes. And also it can work the other way around because I do these, with my voice and how I channel sound, I channel the frequency of that space. So then I'm able to provide that experience even away from the place.
Okay, using your sound.
Using my sound and instruments and my knowing and activation initiations of that place, because I've been there so many times.
You will show us something related to the instruments?
Yes, I'll show you. And also the video that we're going to show from my YouTube channel is actually, it is my channeled sound from that healing temple, Komombo, all my voice and instruments, and my photos that I took there, as well as sort of my mystical teachings based on the energy that's there. And then to show you some, we'll see if the sound just by this. So this is, do you hear this?
Not really.
Okay, so then you have to make me host.
Okay, you are the host.
Yeah. Okay, and we have to mute, you have to mute yourself too, just so you can, otherwise there's going to be a feedback. I'm just going to take a sip of water. So this is a singing pyramid. Do you hear it now? Yeah. So this is clear quartz and it's a singing pyramid. I usually take this into the pyramid. It gets activated with the pyramid's energy as well. And this is for the third eye and the crown chakra. And it's to open yourself up to the cosmos, really to receive messages, visions. It takes you into your mind's eye. So this is the A frequency. It's a much higher tone. It brings you into the angelic realms, really, of sound. So people that feel into angel energy, it helps to elevate that. And then another one I like to use a lot that I bring to Egypt with me, this and use away from Egypt, is in Philae, the temple of Philae, which is Isis's temple. There's Isis over there. So she is the goddess of healing. She was a midwife. And this is my rose quartz bowl. Rose quartz is a gemstone. This is a practitioner bowl. This is for healing the heart and opening up the heart. So when you go to Isis's temple, especially with men, when I bring men there, they have their hearts just get torn open. And they're starting, because they hold so much emotion in, that they're not able to show or share, because it's seen men can't be vulnerable. Men can't share these emotions. So when they go and they felt held by Isis, they felt held by her wings, by her presence. She's the mother goddess. So she is, and you know, the way I explain Egyptian mythology from a non-religious perspective is archetypal exploration, Jungian psychology, which is in-depth psychology, which is, so she's the mother archetype. And the mother archetype is what we relate to as a safe place for nurturance, for healing, for love, for compassion. So that's what you feel when you go to her temple. And we all have that within ourselves. So when we immerse ourselves in that energy, we're able to attract more of that and hold more of that. So this just feel that being surrounded by that pink light, that love, that nurturance, that beauty, the healing. So that's an example. That's an example.
Oh, now I'm gonna go to sleep, you know. I will like relax.
Of that frequency, but yeah, all the temples have different frequencies, different energies, so you can take different aspects of that and it will bring healing within you. You know, horror is, if you go to Edfu, and Edfu is very playful energy. It's very like the inner child, so doing the inner child exploration and healing, and it can heal a lot of inner child trauma wounds.
Okay, Dr. Katya, this thing has nothing to do with the age, so
Nothing to do with
all doesn't matter.
Yes, because actually your childhood traumas comes and becomes more profound and much more of a burden the older you get if it's suppressed and if it's unresolved. And if you have children, children's actually going to trigger you in those traumas. It's going to be mirroring it and bring it in front of you and say, listen, you haven't dealt with this. This is your work. This is what you need to experience. And going to these places, sometimes a memory will pop up when you in ceremony, when you're in a meditative space. A memory will pop up of perhaps an uncomfortable experience, but something that you've been suppressed that you need to move through and heal through. And then you are provided an opportunity in a space where you held in a sacred, safe container where you can actually move through it and be witnessed and held by others, meaning with compassion and love for you to have the experience you have to release it, to let it go, to make sense of it. Or to forgive it, to forgive the situation or have a different perspective over it.
I just remembered when you came to my house like almost 6 months ago, and Omar, my son, you know, all the people in my YouTube channel, they know Omar. When he asked you to play again the sound, remember? You were using that permit and he was really enjoying the relaxation mood.
And that's what you see, people are so in their monkey brains. They're so in their do brain. They don't get to switch it off and be able to be in a state of calmness and bliss. So sound healing is something, that's why sound has been used in the temples. You know, we have the sistrum, Hathor's sistrum. Oh, here's Hathor's sistrum. So this is an ancient, yeah, this is Hathor's sistrum. So she's the goddess of music, love, dance, fertility. Her temple is in Dendara and Quena, and this is the sistrum. It's an ancient sound tool, and it was used for processions, for healing, for birthing, for celebrations, for invocations, for prayers. So that's the sistrum.
You know what? When you came to my house like almost 6 months ago, I really enjoyed the experience. Omar as well, he enjoyed the experience. So what would any of my students would do to join this kind of experiment?
Yeah, so they could come on one of my next pilgrimages, and I know. So I have one. I mean, it's a very last call. If they can say yes to it quickly, I have one coming in November, beginning November.
Okay, so one last call in the beginning of November. So we need a quick yes. A
quick yes and a quick commitment within the next week. Okay. Because everything's already planned, paid for, and so on. So that's the first week in November. It's called Birth Your Power. And the whole essence of this pilgrimage is to step into your power, to reclaim back your power. Look into all the ways we give our power away in relationships, in situations, whether it's with friendships, family members, significant others, in work relations. How do we set healthy boundaries? So there's always a theme when a pilgrimage comes in. And we also have, because it's Birth Your Power, we're going to Hathor's temple for a special sun alignment that just happens twice a year. And the sun is aligning and shining on the birth house, the Mamisi. The Mamisi is the birth house. It's seen as a very sacred space and place that was used for birthing. It's a space of creation. It's a space of coming into new. It's a space of blessing. So we're going to be there for the sun alignment at that time to birth your power, to step into a new way of being, to step into your autonomy and authenticity. So that's November. And the one after that is in May in Siwa. And this is a healing adventure. This is going to be on the Libyan border in the desert. We're going to be floating in the sky. It's very different because when I always go to these places by myself first. I have to have my own initiation, my own experience. So when I pilgrimed there by myself, what I experienced was to have a detox. I'm a holistic doctor, right? So to have a detoxing healing experience helped me to attune to the earth's frequencies and nature's frequencies and detoxify on a physical level so that I'm able to move through the temples in a much deeper way on a spiritual, mental, emotional level. Because you have to tend to the body first, and traveling overseas, it can be hard on the body. You're in a new environment, new food. Most people get sick when they come to Egypt because they're not used to.
Why? We're good.
Yeah, no, but because, they're not used to the food and the water and it takes a little bit of adjustment. So there's ways of preparing and preventing that. And I prepare and help prevent my pilgrims not to experience any digestive discomforts. But then you able to really sink in by detoxifying. We do a sweat tent in the Nubian, in the desert, where we get buried in the sand. We do, we go to the salt lakes and we float in the lakes, and we do Cleopatra's Pool, and we go to the Oracle Temple. So it's a whole 4-day experience in the desert before we go to Luxor back to Cairo and Luxor for the temples. So that's in May. And then I'm doing another one that's actually a family adventure, ancient Egyptian family adventure. That's in August.
August, okay.
Next year. It's 2 weeks. It's for 9 years and up. Any children, 9 years and up, and then they one or both of their parents. And it has, it's gonna be, we're gonna be going to Aswan, Luxor, and Cairo. It's 2 weeks. Oh, and Fayoum. We're gonna go to the desert and Fayoum. Fayoum. So that would be, you're gonna be learning. There's gonna be a educational learning element to it. You know, exploring ancient civilization. You know, the Valley of the Whales in Fayoum. So there's a lot of historical components of it, but then also the fun, you know, go on the sand dunes and do the sand surfing. And
Fayoum is an interesting place to visit.
Yeah, in Tunis village and doing pottery classes, and then we're also going to be doing some temples and some conscious practices and meditation, but something that the family can do together. So it will be inclusive of the children. It's not going to be in a way, so we'll feed all aspects. It won't be just
so we're talking about November, then May, then the family thing will be in next August, inshallah.
End of August.
Great. But there is a very important point even for me, because you know I work a lot. How this whole thing can affect positively to my work performance and enhance my job and so on.
So we get stuck in the mundane, right? We get to the point where we just like every day feels the same. I get up, I do XYZ, I go to bed, I get up again, I do XYZ. It doesn't feel soul fulfilling. It doesn't feel uplifting. It doesn't feel inspiring. It feels like, what am I doing? What's my sacred purpose? What am I working towards? What am I? Right? It raises questions if you have the time to stop and even ask the questions to begin with.
Okay.
So the whole idea is you take a sacred pause. You take a step back. You go to a beautiful place with all these energies, with like-minded people. You're in a sacred container and you are able to step away from all your responsibilities. You don't have to think. You don't have to plan anything. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is show up, be present fully, and allow with an open heart to experience fully. And what that allows is magic to happen, to have an extraordinary experience of transformation, because now you are actually able to witness and see yourself in a different way. You may be able to experience yourself for the first time, who you really are. What's your soul calling? What am I here to do? How am I here to serve? What's God or the universe asking me to serve in this lifetime? What's my real purpose? You're able to view your life from a different lens. You're able to reposition yourself and not just view it as, oh, it's XYZ. You're like, oh, wow, this is actually showing me this about my life. And I'm no longer willing to do the same patterns and the same choices. I'm now coming back. I'm inspired. I'm empowered. I'm coming back and I'm able to make different choices for myself, to say, this is no longer okay for me. I'm claiming a different life. I'm claiming a different way of being. And I'm going to be manifesting it because I feel inspired. I feel empowered. And I have sister and brotherhood that's going to support me in it.
Something you mentioned in the very early of this interview when you talked about the oil energy and
so one of the places we go to Sheikh Abdul's perfumes. He's in Cairo, so we go to his perfumery. It's one of the oldest perfumers there, and he also does energy healing and Reiki, and he teaches. And he has a whole set of chakra oils, and he gives out this booklet with it, and he explains how to use it. He has all the ancient goddess oils. So we go there for an experience, to experience the oils, and you can purchase the oils to take back with you to wherever you live. So you
They're
can
all fully original.
where you can realign your body with the chakra oils, and it describes each chakra and what it relates to and how.
That's an Egyptian face.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's Gamal. Gamal, which means honey, right?
Gamal, it's one of the sorts of saying beauty.
Yes. So
if I want to tell a girl you're beautiful, I can go like Inti Gamila. So
yes.
Gamal as a beauty, as an adjective.
Yeah, that's his name. That's his name.
What about the pilgrimage medicine trip that you're doing?
So I call it pilgrimage medicine. So I was in private practice for 20 years, practicing in a very clinical way. Outcomes-based practice was all evidence-based. And measurable and but then what I found in 20 years of practicing is, I can tell a patient so much, do XYZ, take this, and they'll get better. Their pain will improve. They'll feel better. They make some changes, but it's not lasting. Pain will come back. Their life will deteriorate again.
So it's like a temporary solution. What happens?
It is temporary to a degree, but it doesn't go deep. It doesn't go deep. It doesn't really officially, even if you change the lifestyle, diet, you address the root cause on a biochemical level, but you're not addressing it on an energetic and psycho-spiritual level. So what I do now with pilgrimage medicine, because I was on my last pilgrimage in January, I was at one of the sharing circles. It was so powerful. The healing that these people received on the pilgrimage, and as they were sharing, I started crying, because I was like, in all this 2 decades of practicing holistic medicine, in 2 weeks, I had more of a result than I would be in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Or working with a patient to make changes, giving them supplements, herbs, lifestyle advice. But it's never been like that transformational, that profound. It's never reached that depth. And I was like, how can I practice any other modality? So now I'm claiming and coining it as pilgrimage medicine. It's a modality, a methodology on its own, where it's a way of healing.
You made this methodology yourself?
Well, I mean, all prophets and everyone have always gone on pilgrimages. So that's the essence of a pilgrimage. In general, I'm just saying what I've coined was my experience, and when I add my healing modalities, it's what I've seen is it's a modality by itself. You don't even need to do other things. You just go on a pilgrimage, and that can be your healing modality. And do that as, a couple of, once a year or every other year, or a few times, twice every 5 years. But it's so profound, or once in a lifetime can be enough for people. It's like your pilgrimage to Mecca, right?
As Muslims, yeah, we can, it should be done once in a lifetime, but if it's more, it's better,
Better, exactly. Yeah. Same principle.
Okay, that's great. So, for those who would like to join your next trip to Egypt, which is be in November, which is the quick yes that should be done, commitment, they can just go to the website that's on the screen right now, and they can just be there. And you're having another trip in May and a family trip in August.
Yeah, and that's all listed on my website. And also I have, and I'll give you the link to my sound healing album that's for each temple. Sound that I've channeled.
Oh, okay. So you had your sound that's uploaded over there, so people can hear it and they just can feel it.
They can hear it and feel it, but I actually have an album that they can download. So even if they go there by themselves or they go on my trip, they can listen to it and go deeper and experience more. So I brought this out.
Very gentle from you that this is offered on internet for free, so people can still use it for free. So that's a gentle thing from your side.
Yes, so they can go to each temple on my YouTube channel, and it has the sound, it has everything, the images, the teaching, the so on. And that's something I could share at the end of this interview about Komombo, which is the healing temple of Komombo, just so you can get a little bit of a taste of it.
Okay, Dr. Katia, that was amazing. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sound healing and the whole thing, and I'm really happy having you here. And you're great as a doctor, not just as one of my students, one of my great students. So it was pleasure having you, and we need to do this again and again and again and again because you have a lot of knowledge that I would be happy if you share it with me and my subscribers on my channel, Speak Like an Egyptian. So thank you very much for being here, and we will talk soon again.
Thank you. Shukran, Awi. Shukran, Awi. Masala.
مع السلامة. باي باي.